Welcome to the sequel to my video reviews of the Federation Commander, the system behind Federation Commander, the mechanical core of Federation Commander. Now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the products that bring that system to life. And in particular, I want to concentrate on starter sets. Products that you may consider if you want to give a try to the system. I'll try to show you some options. There are many options, many entry points to the system, and I hope that what you see next in this video will help you make an informed decision about what the best way for you to start enjoying Federation Commander may be. If you want to get started with Federation Commander without spending much, actually without spending anything, if you just want to have a first look at the system, you can go on the website of the publisher and there's a free demo there that you can download. You have some basic rules there and then you print and play the components and you're good to go. Otherwise, if you want to purchase a professionally made product, there is a low-cost entry for that, which I do not own. I already jumped to the core sets that you see here. But there is, if you want, a pre-core set, which is a reduced version of the core set called Klingon Border. There are two official core sets, Klingon Border and Romulan Order. Klingon Border was the first one to come out. And also, there is a smaller version with less of the stuff that you find in here, which is called Federation Commander Academy. You have like 4 ship cards, you have the rules, you have enough to play, you still have to provide some of your materials, but you get a sense. If you like Federation Commander Academy and you want to turn it into Klingon Border, then you can do so. You do not have to purchase Klingon Border. You buy another set which is called Graduation, Federation Commander Graduation, and Graduation plus Academy become Klingon Border. But maybe, like me, you had a good sense about the game. Your gamer's sense was tingling and telling you this was gonna be a good game, and you decide to buy a set. And I personally started with Klingon Border. I liked it enormously, and then I decided to expand with Romulan Border. And to expand it further, as I'll tell you in a little bit. But now, you just want to get started and you're trying to decide Klingon or Romulan, Klingon or Romulan. Here's the thing. Klingon is the first one that came out. It is a very good starter set, but I'll tell you right away, it is not better than Romulan. I prefer Romulan better for a variety of reasons. Well, simply I like the gameplay of the Romulan ships. They have several options that the Klingons and the ships, including here, do not have. They have cloaking devices, which makes it hard for opponents to hit them. They have plasma torpedoes, which are phenomenally powerful weapons, but at the same time they're tricky to use because they require several turns to load. So you have to time things well, to time your cloaking device so that you cannot be hit, or it's hard for the opponent to hit you while you're loading your torpedoes. Come out of the cloaking device, fire your torpedo, run away. Sounds easy in theory, but it's pretty tough in practice. So learning to play the Romulans proficiently is much harder than figuring out how to play the Klingons proficiently. And then in both sets you have the Federation, so that is not a variable really. It is a matter of saying if you want to start with Federation versus Klingon and some other races included in here, some minor ones, but these are the major ones. Or if you want to get started with Federation versus Romulans and some other races here, but these are the major ones. So Klingon Border is more accessible. The Klingons have some very powerful weapons, they are easy and intuitive to play, same as the Federation. In terms of the complexity of gameplay, let's say the headache that you get from figuring out how to implement the rules effectively, Klingon Border is a better entry point. However, as I said, if you are not afraid of a slightly steeper learning curve, then Romulan Border, I personally found it more rewarding to play. Romulan Border also has another advantage, which is it is newer. It came out a couple of years after Klingon, so it has an updated rulebook. There are things here that not only are about the things that apply to the Romulans, and we're not here, but there simply are ways of playing the game that were not explained in this game. For example, in this box here, in the manual that comes with this box, the anti-drones could only be used offensively. Here there is also a way that is explained to use the anti-drones offensively. This is not something that you can do only here. It could preferably be done with the ships that you have in here, but simply the rulebook does not mention that. So it is an updated, expanded rulebook that simply makes the system much more nuanced. It is a longer rulebook. This is about 50 pages. This one has a rulebook which is about 70 pages. Again, between new rules and between new rules in general and rules that apply specifically to the Romulans and the fun gimmicks that the Romulans have. The player aids that you find in here are better organized. The information is presented more logically. A couple of, I wouldn't call them refuser typos, but things that could be ambiguous here have been clarified in the player aids here. For example, here, I showed you the Romulan player aid in my video for the system, and you will see that there is a box there at the beginning of each impulse that shows you that at the beginning of the impulse is when you buy acceleration or emergency deceleration. The player aid says at the beginning of the turn of the impulse you buy acceleration or deceleration, which is not exactly correct. Standard deceleration you buy at the beginning of the subpulse, not at the beginning of the impulse. It is only the emergency, as the player aid says correctly, that does that. Things like that. It's minor things, but it is just a better player aid. So I prefer this one, with the disadvantage that to get started playing the game with this set here, with the Romulan border, you had to spend more time studying the rulebook, and the first couple of games will be more laborious. It will take a little longer to really get a sense of the flow of the game when stuff starts blowing up, to really put together the rules to a point when the rules become natural, the action becomes fluid, and gameplay becomes rewarding. It takes a little longer to learn the game from here. I hear you say, well, why don't you get this set and then you do not use the extra stuff of the Romulans? Possible, but then you're missing the best. So that is kind of like the problem. The Klingon are perfectly formidable and very worthy opponent without the things that the Romulans have. The Romulans without the things that are more typical to their style of attack, then are probably going to have a very hard time against the Federation. So ideally, get both. Actually, this is really the best thing, because you start reading the rulebook here. Actually, you get both. You read the rulebook from here, use the player aids from here, and you play with the units and the scenarios that you have in here. So you have the best of both worlds. The better explanations from here, and the more accessible gameplay from here. Then, once you're familiar with the Klingons, you update and start playing with the Romulans. I really believe that that is the best way of getting started with the game, but alas, you do have to invest with both. You have to invest both money to purchase both sets. Then, once you had fun with this, you may want to purchase more units. And there is an entire line of expansions for the game that is called Attack. That is kind of the name of the line. So you have an expansion called Klingon Attack, an expansion called Romulan Attack, and expansions called other types of attack. For example, here I have the Orion Attack, which, as you can see, I haven't opened yet, which gives you extra units for the Orion pirates. These expansions, why don't you open one? They come with in the sort of like a folder, so they're not really boxes. They won't help you when you want to store the game. The wrapping and the folder will probably go in the trash. In these expansions, usually you find rules and scenarios that apply to the new units that you purchase, extra Romulans, extra Klingons, etc. Then you have counters for the new units they just purchased. Oh, look at the Orions, they are falling off the bone, or falling off the sprue. Counters, there we go. the rules, scenario book, and rules. Here you have reference card. Oh, look at this, more reference cards. Actually, this is not something that I'd seen in previous expansions, such as Romulan attack or Klingon attack. And then you have cards to represent the new ships. A lot of new Romulans and affiliated races with Romulan attack, a lot of Klingons and affiliated races in Klingon attack. And then here you find a map. All expansions come with at least a board that you can put together with the other ones. Boards are double-sided, just like counters are always come in two kinds, the large one and the small one, depending on how you want to play. If you want to play with a large map, then you simply use the large components. Otherwise, use the other one. And I prefer actually small counters and small axes. It gives me more of an old style wargaming feel. So Romulan Klingon border and or Romulan border, then probably you will want to get the attack expansion for the corresponding core set or core sets, which is pretty much what I did. Once I had the Klingon, I liked the game so much, I immediately picked up Klingon attack, Romulan border, and Romulan attack. Now, these core sets and the expansions will allow you to play with a lot of different ships, but usually you get only a card per type of ship. Sometimes you get two, but it is just a variety, a large variety of ships, which is great. You get to try a lot of different models. But suppose that in a certain battle you want to try a composition of forces that has several copies, several specimens of the same ship, then what are you going to do? Well, a simple way, of course, is you simply make photocopies and you laminate them. But maybe you're lazy like I am, or you don't trust your technical skills when it comes to, I don't know, make a photocopy, I don't know, laminated them. I don't know. Every time that I laminated something, it never looked this good and this nice. So if you simply want extra copies of the ships that you find in the borders or attacks, there are products that the publisher sells, and those are called booster packs. So you simply purchase the boosters. You look at the website, it will tell you the boosters are defined by numbers, booster 1, booster 2, etc., and you simply look on the website of design of the publisher for the booster numbers that correspond to each set, attack or border. So that will simply give you extra laminated cards for the ships that you already have here. Now, another way of doing this, if you don't want to purchase the boosters or you don't want to make copies from the cards that you have, is simply you can purchase the files of the cards. Those also are on sale. You can find the link for the places that sell the PDF files. You can find the link on BoardGameGeek, and then you simply at that point print and laminate your cards, or you simply keep printing from the PDF and you write on them and you simply print a new one every time that you play the game. So you have the sets, you have the expansions that give you more variety. Maybe you have the expansion that gives you more copies of the same ships. And maybe you also want to upgrade to playing with models, not with simple counters. Then the things that you need is some of the squadron boxes, squadron packs that the publisher sells. Again, you can find those online, on eBay, on the publisher's website. I'm not that interested because I just like the feel of playing an old school war game. But if you really want to have model starships that are moving around, those are available too. I guess that you can also simply use models from other Star Trek games. Those would work too, especially if you're using the side of the maps with the large hexes. What else you may want to add to your collection in the early stages of your love story with Federation Commander? Probably the Tactics Mantle. The Tactics Mantle is a collection of essays, ideas, recommendations, wisdom by various experts in Federation Commander. It is a manual. I haven't found anybody that sold a printed copy, but you can find online where they sell legally the PDF of the manual, and then you simply print it yourself. You bring it somewhere to get it bound. And this is the Tactics Manual. It doesn't really explain the rules, it simply explains how to use the rules well. Just to give you a sense, looking at the table of contents, it tells you about the basics, and then suggestions, recommendations on movement, combat, weapons, various systems, terrain, not all scenarios will have terrain, and then the different types of empires or groups, the specific tactics that refer to those by group, and then by battleship, by special tactics that refer to specific situations. So this is a very useful tool. Sometimes I read the manual and it seemed like pretty much basic knowledge, like stuff that I probably could have figured out myself, but then I realized, yes, but I had not figured it out. So it's a little easy after you read somebody else's idea to say, I could have done that, but you haven't, at least I haven't. So it's an interesting read, actually. That's a lot to my understanding of the theme and the mechanics. I don't know that after reading this, I haven't read it yet, but after reading this, I play that much better, probably because it's still too early for me. But I know that I have more fun playing the game after I read this manual, because I just have a better understanding of how the mechanics are supposed to work and can work effectively, even though personally I'm not always able to make them work effectively just yet. Give me time, I just started. So, summarizing, you want to get started with Federation Commander. I'm happy that you're saying so. I'm happy that you want to get started because it's a great game. Academy or graduation if you want to start with a published product, or simply the free demo if you don't want to spend anything when you are starting, or if you have given a try to those introductory products and you want to try an actual set, or you simply want to start from an actual published bona fide game, Klingon border or Romulan border. If you get both and you combine them, rulebook and player rates and scenarios from here, that's ideal. Otherwise, this is for the easier but less rewarding entry. This is for a little more complex, but I find more rewarding entry to the system. Then attack expansions and booster expansions to add to the variety and to the number of ships that you have. And at any point during this of the expansion of your collection, the Tactics Mantle also could be a nice thing to add to your collection, and that could improve not just your effectiveness in the game, but your enjoyment in the game. Speaking of enjoyment, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I believe that as I keep exploring the universe of Federation Commander, there will be more videos detailing other expansions, other things that this phenomenal system has to offer. And yes, I really do hope that this video was useful to you, and I really do hope that you decide to give a try to this system, because it is just such an immense lot of fun.